In my minimalist and frugal living journey, I have realized that the things I don't buy have shaped my life just as much as the things I do. Saying no to certain purchases has definitely saved me money, but more than that, it has given me more freedom, less stress, and a life that feels calmer. These days, it is so easy to fill our lives with stuff and overspend if we are not careful with where our money goes. So in this video, I want to share 15 things I personally refuse to spend money on. New stuff before the old is finished. This one might sound small, but I actually see it as one of the foundations of my minimalist mindset. I don't replace things until the old one is completely used up. Shampoo, toothpaste, deodorant, peanut butter, kitchen cleaning spray, like whatever it is, I stick to one at a time. I don't like having a bunch of half-used bottles lying around. It just doesn't feel good to see 3 shampoos all sitting there almost finished. Finishing what I already have also makes me more intentional. It slows down my consumption. I'm not buying more just in case, and it reminds me to actually appreciate the things that I have, appreciate the product instead of just rushing to replace them. Even something simple like cutting open a tube of toothpaste after you thought it was finished shows me how much we normally waste, because there's always more left in there. The second one is funny, and that is problems. Sometimes we buy things that look like a solution, but actually they just add stress. I saw a video from a creator called Christina talking about this last year when it comes to your possessions. You're not just buying the thing, you're buying a problem you'll have to deal with later. And once I saw it that way, it changed how I look at a lot of purchases, especially big ones. For example, buying a used car without a lot of research or even renting a home. At first, of course, it feels exciting, but then the problems start showing up. Repairs you didn't check, hidden issues, or costs you could have seen if you just took more time to research. Suddenly, you have bought yourself stress, extra bills, and maybe even the hassle of moving or replacing it. Or, for example, something more casual, cheap technology like headphones or chargers or some random devices. You save a little money at the start, but when they break in a few months, you are stuck replacing them again. I have learned I would rather wait or even go without for a while than rush into something that is just going to be another headache down the line. Then we have minimalist decoration. There's this funny thing happening where minimalist decor has become its own shopping category. You know, the mass-produced like minimalist art prints, the vases, bowls, and the candle holders that are marketed as clean and simple, like the minimalist choice. They are all sold under this label of minimalism, which I find to be very ironic. Buying more stuff just to make it look like you don't actually buy or have a lot of stuff. That's just so weird. I understand many people like this minimalist style, but at the end of the day, there's still just more things to buy and more things to manage. For me, minimalism has never been about buying pretty much anything. It's about not needing those things in the first place. A home doesn't feel calm because it is staged or designed to look like with this minimalist style. It feels calm when the stuff you do have are like functional, meaningful, and actually used. Then we have the illusion of peace. I think a lot of people spend money chasing peace. It is sold really everywhere, like buy this and you'll finally relax. Go here and you'll feel calm again. People think a week away is going to undo months or years of stress, but really the stress is just waiting for them when they get back. Or then there are these supplements and powders marketed as like calm in a bottle. Just buy this and then you'll find peace. But I don't think peace really works like that. It's not something that you can swipe a card for. Real calm comes from your rhythms, your mindset, the way you let yourself rest. Sure, some of these things can support that, but they cannot create peace for you. If your daily life is chaos, no flight to Bali will fix that. Sometimes, honestly, the most effective thing is free, something you already have, a couple of deep breaths, a walk outside. That does more for me than anything I could buy. The next one is interesting: convenience because of poor planning. Something I try not to spend money on is convenience that only exists because I didn't prepare. Of course, life happens, you cannot control every little thing, and sometimes grabbing a takeout or calling a taxi is the only option, but a lot of the time it's really just me not thinking ahead. Like those evenings when I opened the fridge and realized that there was nothing to eat, so the only option was food delivery. Or heading out without a water bottle and ending up paying like 10 times or even more the price for one at a grocery store or some machine or whatever. These aren't bad choices on their own, and if they happen sometimes, but when you add them up, they drain a lot of money. And I don't want to live like I'm always patching problems at the last second. I would much rather slow down, prepare a little bit, and avoid paying extra just because I didn't think ahead. Smartwatches. I've never owned a smartwatch, and I don't plan to unless something drastically changes in my life. For some people, these are amazing. They track your steps, they track your sleep, your heart rate, all these things, and you couldn't live without them. But I have noticed that most people don't really get peace of mind from them. Instead, they just add another layer of pressure. Your life becomes about meeting certain number instead of listening to how your body actually feels. For me, that feels like buying more distractions. Like I already have enough tracking in my life. I don't need my wrist buzzing to remind me that my sleep wasn't good enough. Probably I was already aware of that when I woke up. When I run, I do wear a sports watch to track distance, pace, and heart rate, but that is it. I like keeping my life's data simple, useful, and connected to something that I actually care about, not just endless numbers for the sake of it. Number 7, things for my imaginary self. This is a big one. So basically, not buying stuff for that version of you who plays an instrument every evening, or takes up a new sport, or goes to fancy events in the city. It feels harmless, but it's actually one of the quickest ways to fill your space with clutter. For me, it used to show up as hobby gear, like wanting to get all the equipment for something I wasn't actually really doing or planning to do for the long term. I loved the idea of it, but I knew that the stuff would end up just sitting there. And sometimes this is for me like even books, the ones that look smart on a shelf. I knew that that would be nice to have there, but deep down I know that I will never read them. I get the whole law of attraction idea where you act as if you are already that version and therefore you bring that version of yourself closer. There's some power in it for sure, but it's also really easy to go overboard. You buy the gear, the clothes, the books, and suddenly you are surrounded by all this stuff for a lifestyle that never actually started, and if your interests change, may never even start. So now I try to buy for the life that I'm actually living now, the routines I already have, the hobbies that I actually do, the clothes I really wear, and I do this visualization part just in my own head. Then we have expensive sunglasses. Sunglasses are one of those things I just cannot spend big money on. And not because I don't like them, I actually use sunglasses a lot, like almost every day, but that's exactly the problem. I end up breaking or losing a pair every year or every 2 years. I throw them in bags, I drop them on runs, sit on them by accident. Life happens. So if I just spend hundreds of euros on them, that's basically money gone for no reason. I would much rather have a simple, sturdy but affordable pair that does the job. They still block the sun, they still look fine, I guess, And when they eventually break, it doesn't feel like I have wasted a lot of money. Then we have fancy hair products. I have never really understood the point of buying a bunch of hair products. For me, it just feels unnecessary. The only thing I own is basically this simple hair gel, and I barely use it. Maybe once or twice a month if my hair is extra messy and I want a little more control. Most of the time, even in these videos, it is literally just my hair the way I woke up with it. Like, for example, now I have the same hair as this morning or yesterday, like I haven't done anything to it. Of course, if you genuinely need products to keep your hair healthy, that's different. But the regular day-to-day life, I feel like most of what is out there is just extra stuff people get talked into buying. The shampoos with these extra special like ingredients, sprays for every occasion, masks and oils and all of it. It's not bad, but it's just like too much. It's really a lot. So keeping it simple means I don't waste money, I don't waste time, and I don't have 10 half-used bottles cluttering up the bathroom. I guess I have a thing against bottles, but anyway, for me, that is enough. Number 10, things just to fill space. You know how sometimes a room feels like it's missing something, and the instinct is to buy a chair, buy a lamp, or some random decoration just so it doesn't look too empty. Well, I have never actually felt that. If anything, I kind of like when there is nothing there. For me, an empty corner or like a bare wall isn't really a problem. It's kind of peaceful. It gives the room some breathing space. And when people rush to finish a space, it might look good for a month, but then you start to feel like you want some change again, and then after a month again. I would rather enjoy the emptiness than force it to look complete. And if you live with someone who doesn't share this mindset, I totally get it. I have been in that situation too, and that is exactly why I have created my guide, Simple Living with Non-Minimalists. It's all about simplifying your home and life, even when the people around you don't. I will leave a link to that in the description below if you feel like that is resonating with you. Then we have expensive gifts for myself. I have never really understood the whole treat yourself thing when it always seems to mean buying something expensive. Don't get me wrong, caring for yourself is one of the most important things. I mean, my whole channel is basically about that, but I don't see why it has to come through shopping. For me, self-care is more about how I live my daily life, resting when I need it, spending time outside, being around people I care about, even something small like giving myself a slow morning without rushing feels actually like a proper gift. I don't need to justify a purchase by calling it self-care or a reward. If I buy something, it is because I actually need it, but I don't trick myself into thinking that that is somehow a form of self-love. Taking time off work is way more of a reward for hard work or consistent work for me. This is pretty interesting one, paying for the image of productivity. You know the feeling, that thought of, if I just get the right planner or the perfect setup or perfect whatever, then I will finally be organized and get everything done twice as fast. This is such an easy trap because getting the tool gives you that little rush of motivation, like you are suddenly on top of everything. But what usually happens is that the planner looks amazing for the first week and then it ends up being like half used on a shelf. Or you download 5 different habit tracking apps and suddenly you are spending more time updating the apps than actually doing the habits. You are feeling like you are very productive without actually being productive. And that's really the point. Productivity doesn't come from buying the perfect tool. It comes from how you actually use your time and energy. When I keep things simple, I get way more done and I save myself the frustration of chasing after some perfect productivity system that doesn't probably even exist. 13. Emotional spending. This is super common. When we are tired, stressed, or just kind of low, it is so tempting to go buy something to feel better. A little treat, a snack, maybe an impulse order online just because we are bored. And it does give the hit of excitement, that little hit of dopamine for about 10 minutes. But the problem is that fix is always temporary. The stress or sadness or boredom doesn't actually go away. You just delay it, and now you have got less money and another random thing in your house that you didn't really need. So basically just more clutter. I have found it's way more helpful to deal with the feeling directly. So go for a run, take a nap, talk it out with someone, even just step outside for a bit of fresh air. These things actually move the emotion through you instead of covering it up. Spending is like putting a sticker over a leak in the wall. It looks fine for a second, but the water is still coming through. Solutions for problems I don't really have. This one is so funny for me because so many products only exist because a company convinced us that there is a problem to solve. You are maybe scrolling your phone, then you see an ad, and suddenly you're like, oh yeah, maybe I do need a tool for that thing. But 5 minutes earlier, you didn't even know that you had that problem. Smart home devices are a good example. I don't need to turn my lights on with my phone. I can just, flip the switch. Or there are these premium sleep masks that people use when they already have curtains that block the light. And the past 2 years, I have seen all these little beauty gadgets, the rollers and jawline trainers, stuff that's marketed as essential for our health, but in reality, it is just clutter. This is why I try to check in with myself and see what is the real problem. Am I burnt out? Do I have too much clutter already? Do I need more time with the people I care about? Those are the areas worth investing time and money in, not another gadget for a problem that didn't exist yesterday. 15. Clothes that are not a perfect fit. When it comes to clothes, I have learned that if it's not a hell yes, it's basically a no. If something doesn't fit right from the start, I will not buy it. Because the truth is, I wear my clothes until the end of their life, until the end of their cycle. Not just for a couple of months until the next style comes around. So if something feels even slightly off every time I put it on, that's going to bother me for years. That's why I would much rather have fewer clothes that I love and reach for all the time, instead of a closet full of these average pieces that never quite feel right. If you want to see how I avoid most bad purchases in general, check out my frugal spending routine video next here. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to stay kind and meaningful in your own beautiful journey. See you in the next one.